Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered on the Legend Sport channel. My name is Joe. I am continuing my 1973 Yom Kippur War campaign in Down in Flames Locked On by Dan Verssen Games. This is part 4. We will be playing mission number 5. If you have not watched the first 3 and are unfamiliar with how this game works, I would suggest watching part 1. The first 10 minutes of that episode details how the game works, and it would be a good primer. Because I don't plan on explaining a lot of the mechanics as I go along, I'm just going to play this mission out. So to get back to the mission, this is mission number 5, Israeli reinforcements, worth 46 points to the Israelis and 47 to the Egyptians. The Israelis will begin play with a Nesher-S, and it will be taking on a pair of MiG-17F Frescos and a MiG-19S Farmer. From the Egyptians. On turn 2, an A-4E Skyhawk will join the fray for the Israelis. The A-4E Skyhawk has not appeared yet in this campaign. The other aircraft have. The Skyhawk was a ground attack aircraft built by the United States and sold to Israel. As such, it does not have much air combat capability. It's not a dogfighter. It has a 0 gun rating and it has no missiles. So the only aircraft carrying missiles in this mission is the Nesher-S. It carries a pair of Shafir 2 heat seekers. We've seen these before, but if you don't remember, these Shafir 2 missiles are you can't play them at a neutral. You can play them at advantaged with and draw 1 card, or you can play them if you're in a tailing position and draw 3 cards. I am going to use my aim 9 counter here to help me track the turn. So right now it is going to be turn 1, round 1. On round 2, the Skyhawk will appear. As far as skills go, the Israelis have up the sleeve, which I've assigned to the Nesher-S. That means you start with Ace Pilot in your hand. They also have Timely for the A-4E Skyhawk, which allows you to discard all the cards in your hand and draw the same amount back, one-time use. The Egyptians have a pair of skills. I assigned 1 to Aircraft 3 and 1 to Aircraft number 5. Edge goes to Aircraft 3, that's a MiG-17, and he starts with a red line in his hand after drawing on turn 1. Again, in Solitaire, it doesn't really play out that way because of the kind of flexible nature of the cards. We don't actually look at the Solitaire player cards. They are played basically based on the die roll. So they also have Gunfighter, which allows you to discard 2 fewer cards on a gun attack 1 time. That's actually a good one because it would allow you to take a shot from the neutral position and discard 1 card instead of 3, or from an advantaged position and discard no cards instead of 2. So that's always nice to have for an aircraft that only has guns and no missiles. So we will begin by dealing out our cards. So the Nesher gets 6. 6 for the Nesher, 5 for each of the 3 Russian aircraft, Egyptian aircraft. I keep calling them Russian. They are Russian built, but they are Egyptian aircraft. Okay, so they all get 5. I need to pull an Ace Pilot out, which was luckily right on the bottom. And I will replace, I haven't looked at it, so I'll replace that with that. So that is our up the sleeve. I'm going to actually remove that from play. So the Nesher-S will go first because it has an EW rating, an electronic warfare rating of 1. All the Russian, I keep calling them Russian. All the Egyptian MiGs are electronic warfare of 0. So the first thing we will want to do, wow, I actually drew an Ace Pilot. So the Nesher has 2 Ace Pilots in its hand here. That card is, they don't call it Ace for nothing. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to use a red line for range to start the game. And before I do that, actually, I forgot I need to roll for altitude for our 3 Egyptian MiGs. So a 3 is a low altitude for aircraft 3, and 8 is high altitude for aircraft 4, and a 7 is medium for aircraft 5. So they've got all three areas covered. I am starting my Nesher at high altitude, so he will be taking on aircraft number 4, since they are at the same altitude. So I will play my red line for position and try to get myself into heat-seeking range, and I will apply one of them to try and move him from active homing to radar homing. So I'm playing a maneuvering card. He rolls against that. He rolled a 2. He has 5 cards. I'm sorry, it's this one. 5 cards. That's a 7. He cannot counter that. So I move to heat-seeking, and he moves to radar homing. Okay, so now we move on. Oh, I shouldn't have rolled. I need to do something else here. So my red line was successful. I am now going to play a break for 2 range to pull him into heat-seeking range. Okay, so again, he rolled a 10 and a 1. And a 1 with 4 cards. I'm sorry, 4? That's the wrong aircraft. He should have 5, first of all. And he has 5. 1 plus 5 is 6. That's not 9. He cannot counter that either, so he is now in heat-seeking range. So now I'm in missile range, and I need to play for positioning to get better positioning to shoot at him. I'm going to play my guns card for positioning to try and get on his tail. So we will roll. He rolls an 8, so he does have a chance to block this. And then he rolls a 10, which is ace pilot. So he will play ace pilot. I'm going to counter that with one of my ace pilots because I can. So now he rolls a 2 plus 4. He cannot counter that. So I did have to burn an ace pilot, but I did get on his tail. So now I will end my turn since I don't have a card that will let me shoot at him. Okay, so now we move to aircraft 3's turn. They have 5 cards, so we roll for altitude change first. A 6 is no change. He rolls a 5, plus 5 is 10. 10 is an adjust range, improve position by 1, or altitude by 1, where he's going to bump up. He's going to climb to medium altitude, which means he has to discard a card. Okay, so he's down to 4 cards. We roll again. Rolled a 7 this time. 7 plus 4 is 11, so it's the same as before, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to climb to high altitude and discard a card. Okay, so he's climbing to try and combat my Nesher here. So now he rolls a 5 plus 3 is 8. So again, this is an improvement of 1. Is he at heat-seeking? He's not at heat-seeking range. He's at active homing range. Okay, so now he's high and he's at active homing. He has 3 cards left. So I will roll a 2 and 3 is 5. So he is done. His turn is done. He draws 1 card. We move to his partner here, this MiG-17. So we roll for a 6 is no change in altitude. A 5 plus 4 is 9. That allows him to make 1 adjustment here. He will move to heat-seeking range. He will move to heat-seeking range. Wait, wasn't he already at heat-seeking range? I believe he was. He'll move to gun range. So he's going to move to gun range. And now that he's in gun range and at the same altitude as my Nesher, but he's tailed, so he needs to improve his positioning. So that'll be his next move. So he rolls an 8. He has, well, we need to discard a card. He has 3 cards left. That's 11. So he can improve his position by 1. So he's maneuvering for position. I do not have anything that can counter that. So he goes to disadvantaged. and has to play a card. He rolls a 10 plus 2 is 12, so now he can improve his position by 2 and get advantaged on me, which he will do. He'll play a card. And now he is back there, and I am disadvantaged in relation to him. He rolls a 6 plus 1 is only a 7, so he can't actually do anything. He has to end his turn. He draws 1 card. Okay, he draws 1 card, so we now move on to aircraft number 5. Check for altitude change. He rolls an 8. That's a climb. So he's going to climb 1, and he has to discard a card. He had 5 to begin with. Yeah, so he didn't draw anything. Discards a card. Now we roll. He rolls a 9 plus 4 is 13, which allows him to improve his position by 2 or his range by 2. So we'll take range. We already know we can't counter, so he's now at heat-seeking range. We roll again. Another 9. He had to play a card. He's down to 3 cards, so it's still a 12, which allows for 2 for position. We'll move him to gun range because he needs to be in gun range to actually have a shot at me. And he'll play a card again. I cannot counter it. He's down to 2 cards. He rolled a 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. His turn is over. He draws 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. So he gets right back to 5. That ends round 1. We're now in round 2. I add a second missile counter here to indicate we're in round 2. I get to draw 2 cards for my Nesher. Okay, so now as vis-a-vis 4, he's at gun and at high, same as I am, but I'm at heat-seeking. I'm also disadvantaged. So I'm going to play a scissors as a tactic to go from disadvantaged to advantaged. So he cannot react to that, so he's now disadvantaged. So I could in theory, if I have a tone card, I can play a missile. I do have a tone card. But if I can get him into a tailing, I'll get a couple extra cards. Or I could play a break. I'm going to play a break as a tactic. Since they can't counter that, that'll give me a second missile card. And now I'm going to play tone. I'm going to play tone. I'm going to fire my Chaffrier, assuming I get tone. He gets to try to counter tone. He's only got 2 cards. 3. 3 plus 2 is 5, so he can't counter the tone. So now the missile is going to be fired. So I'm firing my Chaffrier 2. Okay, he gets 2 bonus, so basically it's a +4. He needs a 5 to be able to counter the missile. And he rolls a 2. So he will not be able to counter the missile, and he's going to be shot down. So he is shot down. I will remove his card from play with his counters. Okay, he is now shot down and out of the game. I still have 3 cards left, but I think I'm going to end my turn. We'll draw 2. Okay, I draw 2, and now I'm bringing aircraft 2 online here. And it is now a 2-on-2 fight, so that worked out pretty well. Okay, so let me draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for aircraft number 2. Okay, aircraft number 2. So he will try to, well, let's see what we got here. We've got 5 cards. I will play for, I don't really have a whole lot I can play. I'm going to play a tone card, tone steady card for range to move myself to radar homing. And I'm working against, I guess, aircraft 5 since he's at gun range. Rolled a 10, so he can counter. Rolls a 5, so a 5 against maneuvering is nothing. So he doesn't lose a card, but I am able to move to radar homing. I will play my other tone card for positioning to try to move to heat-seeking range. He rolls a, that was a 2, and he has 4 5 cards, so that's a 7. So he cannot counter that either. We're now at heat-seeking range. Yeah, those are maneuvering cards, so I'm going to keep those. I'm going to end my turn, draw 2. Okay, so we're moving to turn number 3 here, or rather aircraft number 3. So he rolls an 8 for altitude. That would be climb, but he's already at high, so he can't do that. He rolls a 4. I forgot to draw his card. So he's got 5 cards. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 is allowed to adjust range or improve position by 1. So he will try to move to radar homing. He's working against aircraft 1. So aircraft 1, I'm going to let him. I'm not going to play a card against that. So he moves to radar homing. Now he rolls a 7. He actually had to play a card there. So he's and that's an 11. So he can again improve by 1. We'll move to heat seeking. Again, I'm not going to counter that. He loses a card. We roll again. He rolls a 4. Plus 3 is 7. His turn is over. He draws 1. Okay, he draws 1. We go to aircraft number 5, who already has 5 cards in his hand. We'll roll for altitude change. He rolls an 8. That's the climb. He's already at high, so he won't change altitude. He rolls a 4. Plus 5 is 9. A 9 is improve, adjust position by 1. Actually, he is not in gun range. So he's going to try to improve the position 1 against the Nesher. He'll work on the Nesher as well. He's going to try to pull the Nesher to gun range. So this card I will actually, will I? Maybe I won't. You know what? I'm going to actually let him do it. So he'll pull me to gun range. I will roll again for his next move. He plays a card. So he rolls a 1. Plus 4 is 5. So his turn's actually over anyway. So he's going to draw a card. And we move to, I'll use my Shafrier as my 3rd turn indicator. So we're back to the top. I have 5 cards. I get to draw 1. Actually, yeah, I'll draw 1 to get to 6. I don't think I want to discard anything. Wow, I've actually got some good cards here. All right, so since we are at gun range, to aircraft 5, I'm going to try to work on aircraft 5, and I'm going to try to get position on him. So I am going to play, an ace pilot for 2 positions to try and get on his tail. So he's rolling against that. He rolls a 6. He's got 5 cards, so that's 11. So he does have the opportunity. A 6 against maneuvering is nothing. So I am on his tail. All right. So now I can take a shot, assuming I have something, which I do. I have a guns card. I'm going to play my guns card. And I have to discard a card. So I will discard my scissors card. So he's now facing a gun, so he gets a 2 bonus. So he rolled a 10 anyway, which is fine. Now he rolls a 6 against guns. He's playing a card. A 6 against guns is a barrel roll. So he's playing a barrel roll. And I cannot do anything with that. So my turn is, I'm going to end my turn. Because I don't have a tone. Oh, I do have another guns card. So I'm going to play my other guns card to take another shot at this guy, and I'll use my break. All right, so I am taking another shot. Yeah, so he's actually down to 3 cards. So he rolled a 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So he actually cannot, and even if I hadn't pulled that card, it would still be an 8, so he'd still fall short. So he's going to be shot down by guns. So he is shot down. He's out of the game. that will end my turn. I will draw 2. So now he's out as well. So we now have aircraft 3. Aircraft 2 will be working against aircraft 3. He's already got 5 cards, can't draw any. Looking at these, do I want to discard any? I'll discard my barrel roll because I want to draw a card. I'll draw 1 card, and I drew a barrel roll. All right then. All right, I'm going to play a split S to try and get him, to try and get on his tail. So he has 4 cards. Rolls a 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. That's not a 9, so I am on his tail. Now, unfortunately, I don't actually have anything. I don't have a firing card. So I will end my turn and take 1 card. But I've put him in a tailing position now. We go to his turn. He can only draw 1. That's what he gets anyway for his performance rating. So we check for an altitude change first. Oh shoot, my range, I'm not actually close enough to him yet. I could have kept going. I'll take care of that later. So he rolls a 4, plus 5 is 9. A 9 is adjust range or position by 1 or altitude by 1. So he's going to work in relation to aircraft 2 to get out of this tailing situation. So he's trying to get back to disadvantaged. Now, do I have something that counters maneuvering? I do. So I'm going to play a barrel roll. So he did play this. Barrel roll. He rolls a 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. He can't counter my barrel roll, so he stays in a tailed position, but doesn't lose a card. So he has 4 cards. We continue to roll. He rolled a 3. Oh, I forgot to check for altitude. Let me roll for altitude. So a 3, he actually dives. And when you dive, you gain a card. So he gains a card. Okay. So 1 plus 5 is 6. So his turn's over. His turn is over, but he did move to medium altitude. So he's now at the same, he's actually at the same altitude as the Skyhawk now. So now we move to turn number 4. Okay, so we're in round 4. We draw, I'm going to turn my afterburners on so I can draw 3 cards this turn. 1, 2, 3 to get to 6. Okay, obviously aircraft 1 will be working against aircraft 3. So right now they are neutral to each other. I guess I'll put him over here. So he's upside down because they're neutral to each other. So he's at medium and gun range. So I'm going to adjust my altitude. I'm going to drop to medium and discard a card for doing so. I'll discard my yo-yo card. Okay, so now I'm at medium and gun. So I actually can get a shot on him if I can get to an advantageous position. So I'm going to play for position. I'm going to play split S for position. So he's going to roll against that. He rolls a 6. He has 5 cards. So that's 11. So he's able to roll for it. He rolls an 8. An 8 against maneuvering is a barrel roll. So he plays a barrel roll. Barrel roll. I'm going to play a barrel roll to counter his barrel roll. So now he's going to try to counter that. He rolls a 10, so he's able to counter it, and he rolls a 3. And a 3 against a barrel roll is another barrel roll. And I cannot counter that barrel roll. So he successfully avoids me getting on his tail. I'm going to take another crack at getting in position on this guy. I'm going to play my ace pilot for 2 position to get on his tail. He has 3 cards left. He rolls a 7. 7 plus 3 is 10, so he can try to counter. He rolls a 4. So he uses a card. A 4 against maneuvering is nothing, so I did successfully get on his tail. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm just going to put it like that. We're both on his tail now. He has 2 cards left. I have a tone card. I'm going to play it to launch a missile. So he needs a 9 total, and he got it. So let's see what he does here. He rolls a 2. A 2 against a tone is a break. So he plays a break. And I am going to play my last card, scissors, against his break. He rolls a 5, plus 1 is 6, so he cannot counter my scissors, and the missile has been launched. So we have our Shafir 2. It is out. It is heading his way. I draw 3 cards from my missile. So first we roll for his maneuver. He rolls an 8, plus 2, plus 1 is 11. That's fine. A 6 against a missile card is a barrel roll. So he plays his last card. It's a barrel roll. The missile does not have anything that can counter a barrel roll. So he evades the missile. And that ends my turn. So I will draw 3 cards because I have my afterburner on. And we move to the Skyhawk's turn. He has 4 cards, can draw 2, but he can only have 5 total. So he has 5 cards. He is also in a tailing position. I am going to play... actually, you know what? I am going to discard this card. I don't have any need for a tone card. And draw 1 more. Okay, so I have 2 scissors, a yo-yo, and a vertical roll, and a guns. So I'm going to shoot. I'm going to shoot because he has no cards. So I actually didn't need to do that way. He has no cards, so he cannot counter. He does not have countermeasures. He has nothing. I am tailing. We're both at heat-seeking range and the same altitude. He is shot down. He is shot down. I shot down 2 of them by guns and 1 by missile. In shooting down all 3 aircraft, that gives me 20 bonus points on top of the 46 I will get for destroying all their aircraft. Oh, I'm sorry, 48. So I get 68 points for this particular mission in the campaign. The Israelis rather are well on their way to at least probably an operational victory. I'm hoping. We have 1 more mission left. That would be mission number 6, numerous SA-7 sites. So that one will have a couple of Phantoms taking on the MiG-21, which is the best aircraft that the Egyptians possessed during this war, as well as having 2 SA-7 surface-to-air missile sites to contend with as well if you're at any altitude, but high and at any range. Actually, at low, active homing can get you too. So that one's going to be a challenge as well. This one was an interesting one. I had a lot of fun. The fact that the Egyptian MiGs were unable to use missiles or can't carry missiles was a severe handicap to them. I was able to use my afterburners for my Nesher to actually gain an extra card, which may have been decisive in that final turn of depleting the AI aircraft's cards, which allowed the Skyhawk to then shoot him down. So that was fun. Thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate it if you would at least like the video, and if not like it, maybe share it, or even better yet, subscribe to the channel. There is at least 1 more video coming in this particular series, and then I will be moving on to a different game. I am not completely sure what game that will be yet, but it will be something, and it will likely be a solitaire game. I don't know that for sure yet, but we'll see what that game ends up being. So for now, I am going to sign off. Thanks again for watching. For Hexed Encountered on the Legend Sport channel, my name is Joe. Take care and happy gaming.